Sammy, and Carrie, and Kylie, and Matt, and Mary. A recruiter often spends no more than 30 seconds looking at a resume. That's how long someone gets to impress them. Many people think that writing a resume is as simple as a list of skills, past jobs, and accomplishments, but that is not the case. The resume has to be relevant, concise, and accurate, or the recruiter might just write it off. Just a few important components of a resume are a good cover letter, professional email, and some keywords that are both descriptive and show the employer a lot about the interviewee, and a concise list of past jobs and skills. Once someone gets past the resume, they'll have to get called in for an interview. In an interview, the interviewee often gets only 2 minutes to make a good impression on the person doing the interview. Clearly, this is a game of time and being well prepared. I will share the tips I've learned to having a successful resume and being good at interviews. I thought it'd be a good idea to give some facts that I've collected from past experiences and from the website Business to Community before I started talking about them. The facts will show how every part of an interview is key. 76% of resumes are rejected immediately because of unprofessional email. 93% of recruiters will likely look at a candidate's social media accounts, so it's important to make sure that you only say smart things, I guess. 70% of the time, the interviewer will be written off within the first 2 minutes of the interview. Reasons for immediately being written off include the applicant trying to be too fashionable or trendy, they failed to make eye contact or made too much eye contact during the interview, they didn't have any knowledge of the company, even stuff as simple as not having a good handshake, not smiling, or not sitting still with good posture. 93% of what the interviewer gets from an interview comes from the quality of the person's voice, their confidence, and the way they dress, act, and walk. Only 7% actually comes from the content of what they're saying. The first time I was taught to write a good resume when I was a senior in high school taking my first business class. Since then, I've continued to pick up tips and tricks about how to write good ones. In this speech, I will highlight the 6 tips that I think are the most important to having a good resume. The first is to get the employer's attention. The best way to do this is to write a good cover letter that highlights the reasons why you're a good fit for the job and tells the employer what skills you have. State these skills clearly and support those claims with facts. Let the employer know the skills, but also write what you've done in past jobs to prove that you do these skills well. Use numbers and results and avoid general accomplishments. Numeric values help to prove to the employer that you do what you do well. Include how you can help the company and speak the language of the employer. Relating to the employer can help them envision the possibility of working together in the future. Make sure that the resume flows well and do not have repetition, as it makes it hard to follow. Lastly, make sure you have someone proofread the resume before it is sent. It's easy to make stupid grammatical errors, and this can be easily avoided by having someone reread it. And if someone reads it, they can also add ideas or make sure that the flow is better. After someone turns in a resume, if they are accepted to the next step, it would be an interview. Going to a job interview could be a very stressful part of someone's life. It is a skill that gets better with practice and time. I will also say the six tips that in interviewing that I find the most helpful. The first is to research the company that you're interviewing and prepare questions. It looks good to an employer if you show interest in their company. And you can also focus what you're saying on why you'd be a good fit for that company. It's also an unwritten rule that at the end of the interview, when the interviewer asks if you have any questions, that you should ask 1 or 2 intelligent questions. To go along with that, it's a good idea to practice and review common questions that an interviewer could ask. Obviously, every company is different, but there are some generic questions that can be practiced, such as, what is your greatest skill and weakness? Dress for the job that you want. Showing up in professional attire goes a long way in making a good first impression. On the other hand, showing up wearing unprofessional attire is an immediate bad impression and can almost assure that you do not get the job. Arrive to the interview not just on time, but early. Being late to your interview is just about the worst thing you can do and sets a very bad impression. So, when being on time to an interview really means being about 15 minutes early. Be confident and speak up. Speaking in a confident tone is very key when being in an interview, as it makes the employer think you know what you're talking about. Do not mumble or say words like as it makes you seem not confident. Sit with good poise and make good eye contact throughout the speech. Confidence is a key component in an interview, but cockiness should be avoided, so you have to walk that line very closely. Always be sincere and thank the interviewer. This should be done in person and by email or mail. Being polite and genuine can really go a long way and shows the interviewer a lot about yourself. In conclusion, going through the process of writing a resume and going to an interview can be really stressful for people. If someone can learn how to do these skills effectively, then it can take a lot of the stress away and increase the chance of getting the job. Thank you.